Hi, welcome to Thrive Online. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for connecting in this way. My name is Adam.orellana. I am the youth pastor here at CenterPoint here at Thrive, and I am just honored to be able to share and to be able to spend this time in this way. And I'm so glad that you've been able to find this video, whether it was at the centerpoint.org/thrive or whether you found this on YouTube. Thank you so much for just making the time and just separating a little bit of your attention in the day. I know that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things that can distract us, but I'm just really thankful that you're able to do this and that we can continue to connect in this way. I'm going to keep making videos for as long as I can. Right now, unfortunately, we cannot get together in our building as much as we would want to and love to. But, we have the internet, we have these mediums, so it's important that, we use it to the fullest. So I just want to make sure that you are finding these videos. They will be posted every Sunday, and you can either find them on the centerpoint.org/thrive or on our YouTube channel. And we'll be posting information either for our Hangouts or virtual Hangouts during the week. So if you're watching this on the website, the information is underneath the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link is on the description, and you can just follow us there. All the info to connect with us during the week, to connect with our leaders and our pastors and myself will be right there. So last time, we hung out for a little bit, and there were a couple people during the week that I was able to connect with during our virtual Hangouts, and I just want to thank you to those of you that did that, and we want to make it easy for you to be able to do that. So please make sure to go to the centerpoint.org/thrive. The information is underneath. There'll be links there, easiest ways for you to get that info. Every week, what I wanted to do is really just bring you guys into our household, bring you guys into my life, and just talk about a little bit about things that God has been working in me, God has been teaching me, and just share that with you. And I think it's important, especially that we talk about things that maybe we might not be used to talking about in a group setting. I know that there's a lot of times that the awkwardness of being around people or being around people that we don't know specifically can be hard. It's hard for us to open up maybe or to be honest about our feelings and our emotions, and that's why I wanted to make these videos as personal as I could. And today I brought you into one of the most personal spaces in our household, and that is our bedroom. This is one of my favorite places to hang out. Right behind me is my favorite bed ever. I love sleeping on our bed. And the biggest reason why I love sleeping on it is because it's comfortable, right? I don't have to lay there and toss and turn and think about all these things. And when I can't fall asleep easily, when I'm not comfortable, when I just toss and turn, my mind just starts to race, right? All these thoughts and memories and embarrassing stories and things that I regret doing, everything just starts coming up to the surface. And so to have a bed that's really comfortable, where at the end of the day, I've been tired, I've been working on all sorts of stuff, making videos for Thrive, I'm able to lay down on a bed that's comfortable, and I'm at peace. My body's at rest. It's easier for me to fall asleep. My mind isn't racing so much. And so that's why it's my favorite bed. It's my favorite thing to sleep on. Why is that important? Well, the reason that it's important is because rest is so good for you. Have you been resting during this time, during this quarantine time? You've been having to do school and probably chores and maybe work has gotten you busier or whatever it is. Have you found time to rest, or has it really just felt like you've gotten more busy? Maybe more things have your attention. Maybe there are more things that are pressuring you. Maybe you're on the other extreme. Maybe you've had too much rest to the point where maybe you've done nothing. Maybe you've accomplished nothing in the last couple of weeks and you've just been resting. And maybe that resting has kind of turned into you not being as productive or a little bit of laziness, And so rest is such an important part of our life, such an important part of our bodies. Our bodies need rest, our minds need rest. And I think it's important that we talk about how much rest affects us. The last time that we were talking, we talked about body feelings. We talked about the way that our physical body reacts to our emotions, it reacts to our thoughts. You know, when you're angry, your body starts to get warm, and you might even get a little sweaty. When you're sad, right, you start to cry. And sometimes when we feel lonely, there's like an achiness in our, like, deep down in our inside. Or when we're really feeling anxious, we start to lose our breath, our heart starts racing, and so many things happen sometimes just by our thoughts. You know, I was just saying, when I was laying in bed and I wasn't comfortable, I would toss and turn, and then I would just think. I think about things that I've done that I regret doing, or embarrassing stories, and instead of falling back to sleep, my mind would just race and be like, what if I did this, or what if that didn't happen, or blah blah blah. And sometimes some stories are so embarrassing or so cringy that you just kind of cringe, right? Your whole body feels it. Those are our physical reactions to our thoughts and our emotions. You know, many times we don't recognize how often those physical reactions are simulated by our external world. And what I mean by that is, have you ever noticed, like, when you're watching an action movie, you know, as soon as the movie is done, you kind of have a little bit of adrenaline built up. Maybe you want to go, I don't know, get in a high-speed car chase or get in a fight or something. You know, you watch a karate movie and all of a sudden you're karate chopping people. And, you know, my wife and I were just watching the show, and it was a suspenseful show. It wasn't so much that it was scary. It was just one of those shows that kept you on the edge of your seat, and there was twists and turns and things you didn't expect to happen. And then at the end, you were just kind of like, whoa. And it was always funny because at the end of the episode, whenever an episode was done, we just kind of had to sit there and like cool down for a minute. We didn't realize how much adrenaline, or sometimes how much tension, our body was building up just by watching a show. And it's interesting the way that our body, or even our mind, reacts to the things that we see happening but aren't happening to us. It's even more fascinating to think about the fact that that show, the people who made that show, did all of those things intentionally. They directed and wrote the show, and they picked the locations, and they picked the music. They did all of those things just so when I would be sitting there watching it, I would feel the tension and the adrenaline that the characters inside of the show are feeling. How just crazy is it that without even knowing me, without even knowing Adam, without this person who wrote this show years ago, without having a personal knowledge about me, they were able to control my thoughts, and they didn't even control my body. See, I think it's funny. I think right now a lot of people are really concerned, and they're really scared about the whole conspiracy that people want to install microchips in your brain so that they can control you. But we are already so controlled, whether it's by movies or TV or our own social media feed. I mean, by our Google searches, we're already so controlled. You think Facebook doesn't know the things that you like and the things that you don't like? Facebook knows how much you care about certain things. Facebook knows exactly how much you'd be willing to like or share or post on something, and how much you wouldn't on another thing. I mean, your Instagram knows exactly the kind of advertisements to push you, right? And we joke all the time, but you say any word, say a random word or a product, or you start talking about a product or a company with somebody, and all of a sudden there's an ad that comes up on your Facebook or comes up on your Instagram because your phone is listening to you. We are already being controlled. Our minds and our bodies are being controlled to act a certain type of way, to think a certain type of way, to believe a certain type of way. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to that. And the reason why we don't is because our mind might be tired. Our bodies might be tired. And it's easy sometimes to give in to the way that Instagram, or the way that Facebook, the way that our YouTube feed or our Google feed, the way that those things try to control us and make us think. It's not always easy for us to be asking ourselves, is this true? Is this real? Is this really what I feel? Is this really what I want? I've realized sometimes how many times, I might be having an okay day, I'll be having a normal day, there's not a lot going on, and then maybe I'll get on Facebook and I start to see people maybe posting all sorts of things, and maybe there's hateful posts and hateful shares and hateful comments, and people saying this and people saying that. And all of a sudden, I start to get upset. I start to get worked up. I maybe get a little bit angry or get a little bit resentful. And all of a sudden, just by opening my phone and spending maybe 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes is a long time, maybe spending a minute or two on Facebook, and just like that, my mood changes. The way that I start to act again changes because I was just fed something that made me angry. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're on Instagram and I've had this happen to me. I have pages that I follow. Maybe it's a car page or a tattoo page, and then all of a sudden, having a totally normal day, just chilling, open up Instagram, and there's a half-naked woman, a picture of a half-naked woman on my feed that was posted by one of these Instagram pages. And now, she can do what she wants, but I have a wife. I was not intending to think about another woman today. I was not intending to look at another woman this way. But all of a sudden, here's a naked woman up on my Instagram feed, all because I follow a page that has nothing to do with her. But that's the way they make you look. That's the way they focus your attention on that. And so you might not have wanted to do some of the things that you ended up doing. You might not have wanted to ended up on that porn side. You might not have wanted to ended up drinking or smoking or ditching school or having sex with that one person. You might not have wanted those things, but somehow, some way, your body won your mind over. There were things that happened that led you to believe that what you were doing was okay. Sometimes we don't realize how often the world around us is really trying to control the way that we think. And it's so easy the way that they do it, that we allow them to. Now, I'm not trying to preach against Facebook and Instagram and those things. I use them, they're on my phone. I'm trying to just make you recognize, I'm trying to help you be aware of the fact that there are many times that our actions and our behaviors is not really determined by who we are, but how we see things, how we perceive things. I've struggled with all of the things that I've talked about, and there were many times where I've struggled with my sobriety, and I got into places where I was like, I'm not going to drink anymore, I'm not going to smoke anymore, I'm not going to do any of those things. And then all of a sudden, maybe I'm hanging out with a friend and they start to drink. And then that feeling kind of pops into my head again. And when I said no, I start to think, maybe, kind of, kind of like the story about my Instagram feed. If you're struggling with, maybe you're struggling with porn, you're struggling with lust, you're struggling with sex in your life, and maybe you're not trying to do those things, you're not trying to fall into those things, but somehow, you're on your Instagram feed, you see a girl, and maybe, she might be a little dressed tempting, or a guy, he's not wearing a shirt, fully ripped, whatever, and your mind starts racing. You start to think, oh, what if, maybe, I could get away with that. No one has to find out. And then those thoughts begin to have a physical reaction. And those physical reactions then extend out into actions. We talked last time about how important it is for us to be aware of the fact that these body feelings sometimes will make us do things and will make us act in ways that we don't want to act. It's important that as we look around and we pay attention to the things that control us, that we are reminded that God does not want to control you. He does not mean to control your life. His purpose for you is not so that you can just be a blind faith person who just believes for the sake of believing. In fact, there was a guy named Paul, and he wrote a letter to the Christians in Rome, and this letter was collected and put in the Bible for us to read, and I want to read this to you. It's Romans 12, verses 1 and 2. In the first verse, he says, "It is important that we offer our bodies as a living sacrifice." A sacrifice means to give something up that costs something. So, for example, as a dad, as a father, sometimes I have to give up some sleep in order to get up and feed a baby. Or sometimes I have to sacrifice doing something that I want to do for the sake of my girls. So it has to cost something, right? When we sacrifice something, we do it for a good cause, or the purpose is to do it for a good cause. And what he means by sacrificing our body, that means is sometimes we have to give up the things that are beneficial to our body feelings. So the things that allow lust to react in ourselves and then make us act, or the things that allow anger to work up in ourselves and then make us act and do certain things and wrong things, those things are the things that we have to pay attention to. Those are the types of things that we have to specify. We have to be honest. Hey, maybe that Instagram page is actually making me fall right back into porn. Maybe watching that music video of all these rappers or these people smoking weed or drinking, maybe that's making me want to continue to drink. A lot of the times we ask ourselves, why is it that I do what I don't want to do? Why is it that whenever I want to try to change, sometimes it doesn't work? And many times it's because there's things like a Facebook post, or there's things like an Instagram page, or there's things like a video we watch on YouTube, or one thing or another that pops up that all of a sudden makes our brains start to race. Instagram is one of the worst ways that we can begin to just feel unsatisfied. We start to look at our life like, man, I don't have what they have. We see a nicer car and we go, wow, how cool would it be if I had that car? We see a bigger house. How awesome would it be if I lived in a house? We see someone with a better life, and you're just like, how great would it be if I had that life? And we forget many times that a lot of the things that are posted on there are just little snapshots, literally a second of a person's whole life. We don't always know what's happening on the background. We don't always know what's happening on the other side of this person's life. Yeah, maybe they might have the car that you're looking at, or the house that you want, or the life that you wish you want for yourself. But man, maybe they're struggling with loneliness and anxiety just as bad as you are. Maybe they're just as depressed as you feel right now, and you're looking at the things that they have, or you're looking at the things you don't have, thinking, if I only had that, maybe I would feel better. If I only had that, maybe I would feel some worth. If I only had that. And many times we don't pay attention that those things, sometimes it's just a Facebook post, sometimes just an Instagram post, sometimes just a text somebody sends us, sometimes it's a song that we see, a TV show that we watch, whatever it is, that it makes our body react in a certain way, and it makes us have thoughts and emotions sometimes that are just negative, that just bring us down, maybe make us feel shameful or unworthy. We have to recognize and be aware of those things and minimize. Number one, minimize how much we pay attention to them. Number two, minimize their impact on us. And so that means unfollowing that Instagram page, unfollowing that person on Facebook. Maybe it's blocking somebody who's been harassing you, or is just posting just obscene things, or just hate all over the place. Maybe you do have to just block somebody, just unfriend someone. Paul says again, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice. Actively give up the things that cost. Man, your body wants so bad for you to do the things that you're not supposed to do, but we have to try to find a way to sacrifice those things. And to, instead of giving our body what it wants, we have to give our mind, our heart, and our soul what it wants. That is what God wants us to do. In fact, Paul says in Romans 12:2, it's the verse right after, he says, do not conform to the patterns of this world. Do not conform. Many of us have probably heard this verse so many times, but do not conform to the pattern of this world. What pattern? Especially right now, what kind of patterns do we have? Everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on YouTube, everybody's on TikTok, everybody's on Snapchat, everybody's on everything. Everybody is online 24/7. And everybody is spending their time probably dealing with anxiety and depression and loneliness and unworthiness and comparison and all these other things, trying to figure out can I make myself feel better. And sometimes the only thing they have to do is turn their phone off and rest. God isn't trying to control you. God is trying to teach you. Paul says in that verse, he says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind. And then you will test that the will of God is perfect. Then you will test. See, that's the thing about God. God wants you to ask questions. God wants you to test the things that he says. God wants you to test his word because he wants you to see for yourself the truth, the power, and that love that lies underneath. And so many times we're so caught up in the things and the external forces around us that are controlling our mind, they're controlling our body, they're controlling our actions, that we don't have time to test the things that God wants us to test. And so last week I said, hey, all I want you to do is just be aware. Be aware of when you get angry, how does your body react? When you get sad, how does your body react? When you're happy, how does your body react? When you're anxious or you're lonely, how does your body react? And I want you to pay attention this week to how do the things you see, how does your Facebook make you react? How does your Instagram make you react? What do they make you think? The videos that you might watch on YouTube, what are they making you think? What are they making you feel? Again, I'm not asking you to read through the whole Bible. I'm not giving you chapters for you to spend time on reading. All I'm asking you to do is to just be aware, is to just pay attention. God isn't trying to control you. He's trying to teach you. And the only way that we can be taught, the best way for us to learn, is with a mind that is rested. God also says, come to me. All of those who are tired, who are weary, who you've been carrying your own burdens for such a long time, you've been carrying your anxiety, you've been carrying your stress, you've been carrying whatever it is for such a long time. He says, come to me and I will give you rest. Maybe that verse to you just sounds like some cliche thing. But if Paul says to test to God, and if God says, come to me, all you who are tired and weary, and I will give you rest, I want to challenge you to test God. This week, whatever it is that you're tired of, that you're weary of, that you've been holding on to your shoulders, something you feel like you've just got the whole world and you're trying to do everything yourself. This week, I just want to ask you, can you give it to God? Can you allow him to take control of it? Can you allow him to teach you? Can you allow him to give you rest? Can you put down the things that are controlling your mind, that are controlling your body? Can you put those things aside? Can you pay attention to the rest that God is trying to bring to your life? Through that rest, hopefully, your mind is being renewed and you're being taught new things. And so that is my hope. My hope is that through these videos, my hope is that through this time, you and I are just able to learn together, to grow together, and to be able to see and test that God, his will for your life, his purpose for your life is perfect, and it's far better than you could have ever imagined. So, if you would like to connect with our church during the week, the best way to do it is go to the CenterPoint.org. If you want any more information about our Thrive online group and what we're doing, go to the CenterPoint.org/thrive. And if this has done something for you, if this has been uplifting for you, I want to encourage you to share this with your friends, share this with your family, share this with people who you believe need it just as much as you and I need it. And I just want to thank you one more time for taking the time to watch this, to spend time with me. And I want to just remind you that we are getting together. We're doing our virtual hangouts. Again, the best way to get information on that is the CenterPoint.org/thrive. My contact information is there. You can text me, email me directly. But middle school, Tuesdays at 12, high school, Wednesdays at 12. And then for all of our 18 and over, 18 to 24, 18 to 25, you guys are invited on Fridays at 12 p.m. So please set that time aside. If it's possible for you, if it's not possible for you, then let me know. And maybe we can spend some time just chatting, getting some of your questions answered, I'd love to be able to connect with anybody who's watching this video. And again, I am just honored and thankful, very thankful, that we're able to connect in this way. So thank you so much for watching. Please, please, please make sure that you subscribe so that if you are on YouTube all the time, you're able to watch these videos. And please make sure that you go and you follow the CenterPoint on Facebook, on Instagram, that you come and find me. That way you have all the most up-to-date information available to you like that. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.